All right, so we're joined by my friend Markisha Smiley with the Agency Haus. Real estate professional. This is our college career readiness class here at Belma Jackson High School. I've got a room full here with me. We're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County schools: Rosa Scott, Madison Central, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Option Center, and our YouTube channel. And we are in the marketing, sales, and service career cluster. So thank you so much for taking some time for us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Now, obviously, we want to get into how you become a realtor, what all goes into being a realtor, some of the misconceptions, but also a lot of the pros of the field. But just give us a little background. You went to Murrah High School, and just tell us how you got into real estate.
Yes, I did graduate from Murrah High School. I got into real estate because I genuinely wanted to purchase my first home at the age of 24. So I didn't know what all that, came along with becoming a homeowner. It was a deal that took a lot out of me, but I also went through it like, hey, I could do this. It was even though it was something that um was a roller coaster ride for me, but I was like, I can do customer service. I'm a people person, so I can do this. And that's where it took off from there.
That's awesome. Now, you talk about you went through the process and you said I could do this. I have at least 10 or 15 kids a year that tell me they want to get a real estate license.
Uh-huh.
Because it is a field that social media has glamorized. It has
Right.
made it seem that it is just easy riches. We're taking pictures in these big pretty houses. I sold this. I'm dressing real cute and I'm on TikTok. Now, I'm not going to lie. It can be a very lucrative field, but the process to get there and the process of building that clientele and becoming a successful real estate professional is not a magic trick. Now, first of all, I want to talk about how you become a realtor,
Mhm.
because I grew up in a house with a realtor. I grew up with a literally a parent that taught real estate classes, so I understand a little bit of the process. But I
Right.
just cringe when I hear kids say, "I'm going to go to XYZ University and then I'm going to become a realtor." I'm like, "Well, why are you going to college?"
Yeah.
Because you literally in the state of Mississippi, and correct me if I'm wrong on my facts here.
Hmm.
You got to be 18 years old. You have to
Correct.
take the class. You have to take the realtor, any of the licensing classes, which are 60 hours. You have to
Correct.
pass that class. Then you have to pass the state licensing exam. And
Correct.
I think your total cost for all that, I think, is $600, somewhere around in there.
Yeah,
It
you're
may not
looking
even be that
roughly.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're looking roughly at like about $600, and the test, which that was online. So
Yeah.
online was around like when I did mine online, it was like $595. But the actual exam is $75. So if you
Okay.
fail it, that's additional $75 every time you fail it. And if you fail the state part a certain amount of time, I would think maybe like 2 or 3 times, and you have to wait like 3 to 6 months before you can go back. So it requires a lot of studying, a lot of applying what you learned or what you read in the real estate applied to real life instances. Now, real
Yeah.
estate is like it's yes, it's all glitz and glam. It looks good on social media, but it is a lot of hard work. It's a lot of trying. I cannot tell you how many times I have quit, how many times I have cried, but I wake up and do it every day because I find joy and purpose in helping people become a homeowner, because a lot of people have that on their vision board and they think that it's so far fetched, and it's really not. It's
Yeah.
really not. It's just getting in touch with the right realtor that is, and I can't say right, but I always tell my clients, before you even choose me, interview me first. Let's see if I'm a great person for you throughout this transaction, because I don't treat my people just like a number. You have to make every transactional personable, because if you're going to be treated like a number, that experience, I can tell you, is going to be horrible. So you have to just have great customer service skills, and it has to be something that you're really passionate about, because you're going to invest in yourself every single time.
Yeah,
But
and it's not and real estate is not a steady paycheck. It is 100% commission.
it's not.
And if you're not out there hustling, if you're not following the leads, if you're not having the transactions, because I think what most kids don't realize, a realtor is not paid until the dotted line is signed at the closing table.
Yes, until the ink is dry, and you cannot count your money then because at the closing table, I'll give you an example. I had a deal that we got to the closing table and she got there and was like, "Hey, I don't want to do this no more," and walked away. The most embarrassing and hurtful thing ever. So yeah, you have to you just can't count all your money then. And it's like this quote I say, if you don't work, you don't eat. So it just real estate is just it's a daily reminder of how hungry are you really.
There you
And
go. But at the same time, it does have a lot of pros because at the end of the day, you're an entrepreneur. So you can
yes.
work around, if you want to have kids, this is actually a great field to get into because, like I've mentioned, my mother was a realtor, still is a realtor. She was able to
Hmm.
pick us up from school every day. Now, a lot of times she would go back to work after that, but she
Yeah.
was able to attend our functions, our events. She could, she was picking us up. Now, a lot of times she'd say, "All right, here's some McDonald's, just so you're on your own," and she'd go back to work. But at least she was able to pick us up. So it does give you that flexibility, but it also people are going to be calling you at night. People can be
Yep.
calling you on the weekends because I'll never forget this. And people think I'm joking, but I swear this happened. We were literally sitting watching the Super Bowl. Brett Favre's playing. Everybody in Mississippi is watching, and this guy is calling her about a house in the middle of the Super Bowl on a Sunday night. And I was just like, "You got to be kidding me!" So that really is shows that unless you literally turn your phone off, you are never off as a realtor.
No, as an entrepreneur, yes, you are as a realtor, even so, you're never like it's literally no days off. I can't turn my phone off because it's even though you have to have I do have my self-care days, which is on Sunday, and I make that very clear because I have to reconnect. I have to disconnect and reconnect, prepare myself for the week. But you have to don't turn your phone off, but just be honest. Just be transparent. Hey, Sundays are my off days, but I'll be more than happy to talk to you between. You have the flexibility, like you say, to set your hours. Set your hours and make it clear on the front end so that you just have that time. I've had clients that call me at 11, 12 o'clock at night, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta stop. You have to have an off button. Otherwise, you're gonna burn out. You're gonna
Yeah.
burn out.
And you mentioned about the customer service aspect because I think that is a
Yes.
skill that no matter what field you're in is so important, especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur and if you're going to be in real estate. Because
Yeah.
unlike other sales jobs where you're trying to upsell things, the goal of a real estate professional is to get somebody in a property that you're not going to try to make them spend more than they have. You
Right.
want to have something that fits what they're approved for in their mortgage. You want to make sure it's something that they can reasonably afford over time, that they can afford the repairs and things of that nature. But you also want to listen to what they're looking for. You want to listen to the type of school district they want to be in, to how far they want to drive from work, to how many other kids are in the neighborhood. So you really have to listen to your client. And just because you like something doesn't mean that necessarily they're going to like it and that it's going to be a good fit for them.
Yes. That's absolutely true. You have to be an active listener. I no, let me back up. I've had to tell myself you have to listen more than you speak. And that has allowed me to understand and comprehend what it is that my client really wants. So I've been in instances where I'm like, I have a notepad. Every single time I do a consultation, I have a notepad because I'm jotting down like, if you really want a big backyard, do you not want a backyard? Do you want so much square footage? Or the school district? Like all of that entails into if they where they want to buy. And so that yeah, active listening, customer service skills, and just not making them feel pressured to do or buy anything that they don't want to do. Because you can really love a house and you walk in and you're saying, I really love this, I really love that, but they don't like it. And you have to go with it. I
Yeah,
just
and
tell
something
myself,
else.
take your emotions, take your feelings out of it.
There
And
you
this is
go.
all about your client.
There you go. And then something else on top of that is you've got to be the advocate. You've got to
Yes.
understand the things that, I always say you've got to be the expert. You've got to understand things that they may not understand, especially if it's a young person that's never bought a home. They don't understand the fact that they're going to need to spend a little bit on a home inspection. Because if you
Yes.
don't have a home, look, I think everybody can agree that's ever dealt with any type of real estate transaction. If you don't have a home inspection and you sign the line, you are absolutely outside of your mind. And
You
I think,
are.
yeah, and maybe people may be inexperienced and say, I don't want to spend that money. Your job is to say, look, this may be $400, $500, but this is going to save you tens of thousands of dollars in repairs later because it wasn't caught on the front end.
Yes, I lead with the golden ticket and the upfront cost as well. That is like my leading thing. Like, yes, when you see these things online, like no money out of pocket, no down payment assistance and all that, I always tell my clients, like, it's gonna take some money. It's gonna take you roughly about $1,500 to $1,800, and that's gonna include your home inspection, which, and I always tell them, that's your golden ticket. That's your golden ticket right there, in and out of any transaction. Because you may, if a seller does not want to make certain repairs that are major, then that's going to be your home inspection is going to be your golden ticket out of it. And just I always tell people who are interested in becoming a realtor, you have to be absolutely, completely honest during every transaction.
Yeah.
You have to be honest. Otherwise, it's going to cost you your license and it's going to cost you a lot of money. And real estate is not cheap at all. So, and it's just like, it has its benefits to it, it has its advantages, but you have to just be ethical at all times and have some integrity when you're doing it. And that's just any entrepreneur. You be
Yeah.
have Just do the right thing and be honest with these people, because that's the biggest purchase that they're ever going to make. You don't want your name to be attached to an experience that is not good for anybody as an entrepreneur. And
Yeah.
and I hate to say this, but being a black owned business, you
Yeah.
really have to make sure you have your ducks in a row and you're being transparent and you're doing the right thing, because there's going to be a stigma on you. And
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but that's just the reality of it.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Dewana Stanley, who's your broker owner. I think she's done an excellent job of kind of her and another friend of the class, Misha Edwards, two great real estate brokers in the Jackson area that have just done an outstanding job of showing that black-owned businesses, especially black-owned real estate businesses, are legit and have some incredible agents, incredible service, and they have helped people of all backgrounds find great homes. So you are correct that look, there is an unfair stigma on a lot of black professionals, but there's been a lot of people to change that in the area. Now, something else that's important too, because we talk about, you've got to be the advocate for the home buyer. A lot, especially in these rural communities, and I know you are originally from Crystal Springs. A lot of these
Yes,
attitudes are like, they're okay with the handshake agreement. They're okay with, oh, they said they're going to do this, so yeah, it's fine. That's not the case in real estate. If it is not written in a legally binding document, it does not exist
it does.
because stories every year coming out about how people get, especially, and unfortunately, and my mom loves to educate people on this, especially a lot of first-time black home buyers get taken advantage of. And it's not that they're stupid, they just didn't know. They didn't know that this had to be in writing, and they get ripped off by somebody that took advantage, saying, "Oh, they're not going to know. Let's screw them over." Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. And you need to have that advocate, and you need to be the advocate for that client, saying, "Look, if this is not in the contract that we're signing, it does not exist."
Absolutely. I always educate. I lead with educating first, and everything has to be, I don't do verbal agreements. I don't do handshakes. Everything has to be in an email, a text message, or like a document typed up, that like a legally binding contract. So yes, it has to be. So my thing is with that, I always try my best to host like a home buyer seminar and do even open houses. I always try to get I don't want to say just people in the Black community, but just get people who are uninformed on what it takes to become a home buyer to come out, just so you can get educated. It's no pressure into buying or doing anything. It's just get the information so you know what it would take for you to, become a homeowner. You'll be surprised at how many people show up sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't say you don't know if their resources are always available to you. So for the most part, I just continue to be a resource. So becoming an entrepreneur anyway, especially a realtor, you have to be resourceful at all times. Just get out, network, shake hands with people, and
There
just
you go.
have a community of people that are reliable, that are trustworthy, and that you can just, when you need something, or when your client needs something, you can pick up the phone and they're gonna handle the business that needs to be done at the time.
Yeah, and that's a great segue to what I want to talk about next because, and I think all teachers that'll see this later can agree with me on this one. And it's not just, the kids we deal with. I think it's a generational thing.
Mhm.
The verbal communication skills are just so lost with teenagers now. It's because they've been so into the phones. And look, I like social media too. There's a lot of celebrities I like to follow. There's a lot of, I'm a big sports fan, so I like to follow the athletes. But at the end of the day, I can walk in a room and introduce myself. If somebody calls me on the phone, I can have a professional conversation. And in order to be successful in business, or especially in real estate, you're making a lot of phone calls. You're calling contractors, you're calling home inspectors, you're calling the other agent because you're not always going to be in the same room and you can't always text, especially if you're in the car. So, how
Mhm.
important is it to learn how to communicate professionally? Because you've got to always assume the other person has no idea what you're talking about. So you've got to
Mhm.
learn how to clearly state that and say, "Look, here's what's going on. Here's the solution."
Here's the thing. I feel like real estate, it's a ever like you never can know enough, right? So I just tell people like do is research as much as you can, but also a lot of people are not gonna like in the industry, whether it's finance, whether it's other real estate agents, you have to communicate. That thing is not gonna always be text me. Some people like to say pick up the phone and call me, and talk to me. That way I can hear your tone, I can feel your delivery, because a text message or email can come off as like it can be taken out of context.
Big
So
time.
I always tell people like just even if you're an introvert, which I'm not gonna lie, I started off as a slightly introvert. What I did for myself was I just practiced in the mirror, talking to myself, and just having those conversations, because I thought that a text message would suffice, but it does not. That's not how everybody wants to communicate. So it has made me more comfortable now, even speaking on camera. It's made me more comfortable with having those building those social skills, just talking to family members about it, because sometimes family members, they can become potential clients as well. So if you don't have that confidence, or they don't have that confidence in you to just have those social skills or communication skills, they're not going to trust you. It makes people hard to trust you. So I always tell people, look, like just go out and just talk to random people. How I start a conversation off is just money. Like, if you had $20,000, what would you do? Or even if I see a young lady that say, I'm like, hey girl, nice shoes, where did you get those from? And he start off right there and he's like, hey, young man, nice to meet you. What type of work do you do? I see you have on a uniform. It's just something as simple as starting off with a compliment to help you build up those social skills. But communication is going to be a big thing when you want to become an entrepreneur or a realtor.
Yeah, and that's also when it comes, because we mentioned about the licensing. Once you pass all those exams, you got to find a sponsoring broker. And it's good to find somebody that you think you'd work well with. A lot of these brokers want young and new agents to succeed, and they'll provide them with marketing tools. They'll provide them with professional development. And a lot of them, they're going to take a portion of that closing cost as their cut, but they're going to provide you with signs. They're going to provide you with marketing material. So that's something that you can look at as well to say, look, I need a little help on this. Let me find a good broker that's going to help me get started and learn these skills.
Yes, as starting out as a realtor, I knew my broker, which is Dewana Stanley, I followed her way before the company grew as big as it did. So I saw her journey from start to now. And I knew instantly where I wanted to go because I saw her vision and I felt like that would be home for me.
Yeah.
If you are want to become a realtor, I say just interview, pick you the top three brokerages that you want to go to and just interview them and get a feel for them and see if that's the best fit for you. The ball is in your hand. You
Yeah.
are now a an investment for yourself. Wherever you want to spend your money or wherever you want to invest in, you want to make sure that's a good fit for you. You don't want to pay out all these extra fees and you don't want to invest into all this other stuff if that's not a good fit for you because it's going to be all for nothing. And I've been with the agency now, October this year will be 3 years.
Wow.
So apparently I love it. Apparently I love it where I am. But yeah, wherever you go, make your mark and just push yourself to be great. That's what I tell people. Push yourself to be great. I find myself my strengths in being very uncomfortable because I push myself. Even when I don't want to do it, I'm like, just get up and do it. Don't think about it, just do it.
Now, the last thing before I get to their questions, because I got some really good ones, I want to get to as many as I can.
Uh-huh.
The first, if somebody wants to buy a home or buy land or buy a spot for their business, before they ever call a realtor, they need to deal with a lender because the first thing a realtor is going to ask you, well, what are you approved for? And you're going to be backtracking if you're going to a realtor first.
Um, I'm gonna have to like slightly disagree with that. I would
Okay.
say the reason why I say this is because depending on who the realtor is, I'm gonna say a lot of us have some really great vendors in our back
Yeah,
pocket
absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
has like some, and so that's where the buyer's consultation come in hand with.
I got you.
You start with your buyer's consultation and make sure your realtor has just see what programs or what vendors they may have that best fit your financial profile, and
Okay.
then we can point you in the right direction, and then it just the ball gets the rolling from that point.
Okay, I did not know that. That's a great point, and I know you guys do work very closely together. So it really is, but that is a step that cannot be skipped. So what you said is a great point about if you need to go in a different order, but that is something, look at, you got to look at your credit, you got to look at your work history. They're going to want to see some pay stubs. So all that's
Right.
extremely
And I
important
say that
when it
because a
comes to
lot
dealing
of
with the
times
lender.
if you go to, so just say hypothetically, you go to a mortgage a loan officer and you get denied instantly. But we don't like you. That's why I say go to a realtor first. That way we can
Okay.
just say, hey, we got John Smith over here and this is his credit score based off of this. And so we kind of just
Okay.
feed them and then they
Okay.
take it from there.
Yeah, that's good to know. I appreciate that. And but one
Mm-hmm.
thing I know we're going to agree on is you can't bring them a Cash App statement and use that as your income history.
The Klarna, all of that because it sounds good at the moment, but when you're making an investment like this, it's not gonna be beneficial for you.
Yeah, it definitely has its place. I use it too, but that does not need to be where you're putting all your money. If you're
Yeah, yeah,
planning on buying.
yeah.
All right. Well,
Have a bank account first step. Just even if you have two separate accounts, whichever one you're gonna have making your most deposits in, and it's not like overly used with all these subscriptions and all
yeah,
that. I just say use that one first.
there you go. Well, I do have some questions here. I'm gonna get to as many of these as I can. I like this first one. This is Brianna Carson. She's in 10th grade, member of our band here at Velma Jackson, and she asked, "What's the
Okay.
most stressful part of being a realtor?"
That's a great question. The most stressful part of being a realtor is when your clients does not listen to the sound professional advice that you give them and they take matters into their own hands, and 9 times out of 10 is going to cause the deal to fall apart, and that's stressful on the realtor.
Absolutely, and I don't know. I would have lost my mind if somebody you talk about walking out in the closing room. That's unbelievable. I like this one. This is Ashton Leach. He's in ninth
Yes.
grade. Actually, he wants to be a real estate professional. And he asked, does the realtor
Okay.
have any say in determining the appropriate listing price for a property?
Do we have say that one more time, the last part? Does the realtor have the
Any say in determining the appropriate listing price for a property?
No, we don't. So what we do is called a comparative market analysis. And so we do it based off the homes that were previously sold in like the last 12 months in that neighborhood or in that area. So it's a certain mile radius, and we do it based off of the square footage, how many bedrooms and bath the homes the last home had. So it's a lot of, not a lot, but it's some different little small details that allow us to come up with that specific number.
Yeah, and it is now you can consult it a little bit and say, hey, you may be asking too much.
But
You know,
yeah,
yeah, but at the end of the day, it is the buyers and sellers determination.
yeah. Now, if a buyer wants to list their home at like, let's just say, if they want to list it at $250,000, then you can say, "Hey, it's your world. We could do it, but I'm gonna give you my professional advice. It may not
Yeah.
sell at that, or it may be on the market for a very long time." So, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get to a different light. Okay,
Oh,
here
you're
we go.
fine. I have time for three more. I like this one. This is Adija Bell. She's in 10th grade, one of our basketball and volleyball players here at Velma Jackson. And she asked, how many days typically does it take to sell a home from listing to closing?
That can vary. So it number one depends on the location. So if it's in a sought after location or neighborhood, at most I would say, just throwing a number out there, I can say maybe 10 days. I've me personally, I've been in a situation with a deal that closed with my client. The house is on the market 3 days, and we were under contract and sold like in 30 days. So it just
Wow.
depends on the location,
Yeah.
the asking price of the home, and if they're willing, if the sellers are willing to fix anything that the buyer would like to fix.
Yeah, because we actually lived in a home in Madison one time that was listed and had a contract 5 days later. So it really, I agree, depends on the location. I got
Yes.
time for two more. This is Deani Johnson. She's in ninth grade, member of our band here. Also wants to get a real estate license. And she asked, do I have to graduate high school to start the licensing process if I'm 18 years old?
Well, they're going to ask you for if you have like a GED or a high school diploma. So either or, but I would recommend please graduate. And then by the time you graduate, you don't have to go to a college. It's a Mississippi Realtor Institute, which is where I went to in Flowood.
Yep,
Go
right there on
there.
Lakeland.
Yeah, right there on Lakeland. You can do online. That way you can work at your own pace, or you can,
Yeah.
if you're a visual learner, you can go in and take the classes. It's up to you.
Well, she's an excellent student. She ain't gonna have any problem graduating. She's one of the best students we have here. But yeah, and I agree, Mississippi Realtor Institute. And then a lot of those classes are on the weekend. A lot of them are at night. As you know, my
Yeah,
mother teaches a lot of those, and she deals with all of them. So she has people in person, she has people online, she has people on the weekend, she has people at night. So it really is one of those things. You can still work a full-time job and complete the things to get a real estate license.
absolutely. Just find something that works at your pace and where you're gonna be fully active and listening, because it's gonna be a lot of information.
Oh, big time. All right, I got one more. This is Cambry Luckett. She's in ninth grade, and she asked, "What is the most misunderstood part of the home buying process?"
That you're not gonna have to come out of pocket for anything, which is gonna which is going to be your upfront out of pocket cost, which is the home inspection, the appraisal, your earnest money. Like those are the most misunderstood things. And so that's why I say a buyer consultation is always important.
Big time. Well, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking some time for us. I know you got a lot going on, but a couple things before we go. First of all, tell us where they can find you online. So if any parents are looking to list or sell, where can they find you to get your information?
I am on all social media platforms. I'm most active on Instagram, which is Markisha underscore sell homes. and Markisha Smiley on Facebook. Y'all see my pretty picture. So y'all come and follow me for all your home buying tips and just have a chat. One day I may post some free coffee or something. I love doing giveaways. So y'all just follow me on there. And I look forward to meeting y'all. Thanks for having me. And if you have any students that would like to job shadow one day, maybe just get a feel of what an open house is, they're more than welcome to contact me and just come along.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get your IG out to everybody so they can follow
Okay.
you. But the last thing before we go is obviously we talked about a lot of the pros and cons of this field, but at the end of the day, you can make a great living for this, and you don't necessarily have to invest 4 years and money into a college degree. So if kids are really serious about getting into real estate, why should they take that leap of faith and really go for it in Mississippi? Because there's never been a better time.
Right now, I would say the best time is now is because we need young, fresh faces in industries where that were not allowed at one point in time.
There you
I'm just
go.
gonna say that. So when you come in, just invest in yourself. That's gonna be your biggest thing is investing in yourself. Knowledge is something that cannot be taken away. And if you like your time and your flexibility, I say being an entrepreneur, a realtor is gonna be the best thing for you. But at the end of the day, you gotta know if you do not work, you don't eat, you don't make no money, none of that. So just come in. We need more, like, on a serious note, we need more people in finance. We need more people in just real estate. Like, we need more people in the industry to make their mark and bring about some fresh new energy.
Absolutely. And just real quick before we go, as somebody that grew up around a lot of realtors, the only black realtor I ever remember as a child
Mhm.
locally was Carla Palmer, who's still around and doing a great job as well. But the face of real estate in Mississippi and in Jackson has completely changed. It continues to change, but we can always use, with the changing demographics, we need bilingual. We need bilingual realtors. We need realtors that know sign language. We need realtors that speak Chinese. We need realtors that speak Spanish. So there's always a need for a variety of skill sets and diversity in this field.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with that. We need just the a variety. I say all flavors of the rainbow. We need them all.
Absolutely. And you
Just
guys
so
do a great job of that. And we appreciate you taking some time for us today. But again, with the Agency House, Markisha Smiley, thank you so much for joining us today.
thank y'all for having me. Y'all have a great day. Feel free to reach out if you have any more questions.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem.
See ya.